Well, you've been reading her column in Boomer Times for many years. I have the luxury of knowing Jacqui Brandwynne personally, being a guest at her home in L.A., and there isn't probably a more intelligent, kind, very entrepreneurial woman in my life than Jacqui Brandwynne. So I am so happy to bring her to our South Florida audience. She writes the column called Very Private because that's the name of her company. So welcome to our show and happy birthday.
Thank you, Anita. And hello, everybody.
So, Jacqui, before we get into your company and how you feel about your products, I'd just like everyone to know a little bit of your background so they can appreciate what you have done before and why this is so important to you now.
Well, I've created several companies, all in the area for women, first in the cosmetic area, and then I turned around a company called Neutrogena that had a single product, a soap, and we brought in the staff and group and very entrepreneurial people, and we created a company with 134 products that eventually was sold to Johnson & Johnson for $800 million. Unfortunately, it wasn't my company, but we all did well. And based on that, I started a new company called Very Private. Why? Because I realized that millions and millions of women were suffering. In fact, from a condition called vaginal dryness, which is a condition that impedes sexual intercourse because it makes intimacy very painful.
And I'm going to interrupt you with one thing. And even for people who are not having intercourse, Jacqui, if you have vaginal dryness, that in itself is a problem.
Yes, I was going to tell you that it's not just for that, but in the area of intimacy, many, many women shrink away from having intimacy because of the pain. But vaginal dryness is a very common problem for women during and after menopause. And it's due to inadequate vaginal lubrication, which can occur for many reasons and at any single age. It is mostly, however, a hallmark of vaginal atrophy, which is a thinning and inflammation of the vaginal walls due to a decline in estrogen. Now, what are the symptoms? Often it is itching or stinging around the vaginal opening and the lower part of the vagina. You can feel burning, soreness, sometimes pain, discomfort, or even bleeding during intimacy or in the beginning of intimacy. There often is also accompanied with urinary frequency or urgency, and it can also be causing recurrent urinary tract infections. Because what really happens? Under normal circumstances, the vaginal tract, the vaginal canal, is naturally moist with a thin layer of a clear fluid that is produced by the cervix at the top of the vagina and by two tiny little pea-sized glands called the Bartholin glands at the opening of the vagina. Now, these little glands actually were detected by Dr. Bartholin in the 17th century. And later, Masters and Johnson realized that the rest of the fluid comes from deeper inside the cervix. So, under normal circumstances, this fluid protects the tissue, keeps it healthy, keeps it thick, keeps it elastic, and well protected. However, as estrogen levels get lower, which happens by the time we are in our late 30s, beginning 40s, and 50s. In fact, the median age of menopause is 51. Then the moisture which is produced also diminishes because the moisture is largely produced by estrogen. So if estrogen is low, the moisture in all of your body is low. In your skin of the face, and your hands are drier, your eyes are drier, your mouth is drier, your hair is drier, and the intimate area is drier.
And I'm going to jump in here. Here because I hope that men who are listening don't think this is a female problem. It isn't only a female problem because, as you heard Jacqui speak, it's a male problem because if you have someone whom you love, you don't want her to be hurting. You don't want her to be uncomfortable. It's not beneficial for you, and it's not beneficial for her. So when she snaps at you or she acts like, you think she's being bitchy, there may be very good reasons. So it's very important that you listen to every word that Jacqui Brandwynne is saying. And if you want more information, I'm going to give you a website that you can go to right now. So then you would absolutely be able to find out what Very Private is. So it's simple. It's just get on the web, and it's veryprivate.com. Very simple, veryprivate.com. I just had to tell them that because sometimes, Jacqui, people are turning their radio and they think, oh, this is a women's show. No, it's not.
No, it's for everybody, and actually it makes for happiness of a couple. Look, many, many women think they're alone in this problem. They're shy about it. They're embarrassed about it. And many men who have called me says, my wife is no longer interested. I think she doesn't love me. Yes, she does love you. And yes, she is interested, except if you don't remedy the situation, that pain stops her from wanting intercourse. And often women are too shy to discuss it with their partner. But, open communication and close communication is one of the principles that keeps a marriage and a relationship together. So you have to understand it.
So, Jacqui, that's just so beautifully said. When you go to comedy clubs or you are hearing a lot of statements now are men who can't get it up, they say, or erectile dysfunction if you want to be very very correct. But they never talk about this with women. Isn't that funny? They never make fun of this. They make fun of the erectile dysfunction because now it's Cialis and so many things are shown on, on television and you hear it on radio. Isn't that strange?
It's absolutely true. And the more communication we have among both partners, the better our intimate life will be and the better our relationship will be. Now, let's see if there is why that nobody talks about it. You'd see every single day you have commercials about the little blue pill or Viagra or Cialis, and they all tell you if your man's erection lasts more than 4 hours to please run to the doctor. So generally in this country, a lot of people are under the impression that they're losing out. How come the men can have these little pills and be sexually super active and on top of the world again, and we women have nothing? Well, because hormones are very tricky, and men don't have the estrogen hormone, they have testosterone. And there has not been, so far, a hormonal remedy that is not dangerous. Yes, women could go to estrogen replacement therapy, but that has an increased risk of both cancer, breast cancer, heart disease, strokes, and even dementia has been mentioned in the latest studies as being associated with increased estrogen therapy. So many women don't want estrogen therapy because they're afraid of it. So is there anything else that they could do? The only other way is to add some outside lubrication. In other words, lubrication from a product that can be inserted in the vaginal wall and is risk-free. And here is one of the things that is very bothersome. Namely, a lot of products have been launched in the market under the name of lubrication. And the lubrication is advocated to be put into the vaginal canal. However, all those lubricants you can buy, unless they have written on them FDA approved or FDA cleared. Do not use any of these lubricants in your vaginal canal because it's forbidden by law. And why is it forbidden? Because they could cause all kinds of problems in your vaginal area. These lubricants, which are often very cheap and have all kinds of strange names and make a lot of promises, are actually potentially harmful to you. So you must have a lubricant or an intimate moisturizer that has the FDA approval. What does that really mean? It means that that particular product has gone through many, many, many tests, medical tests, human tests, many in vitro tests, and is deemed to be safe by the Food and Drug Administration of the U.S. It cannot get an approval without submitting all this data. And the data will take months to produce and a great deal of money. So if you want to be protected and want to solve your problem, go to an FDA-approved product.
That's very,
now, Anita has had some experience with
I was just going
women.
to tell you. Yeah, I was going to just wait for you to finish this, and I want you to talk about that. The way that I actually met Jacqui many years ago, I was writing a column in the Palm Beach Post, and this was a question that came up, and it was answered by Jacqui Brandwynne, who somehow got a hold of that, and that's how we started talking. And the interesting part about that is that I have been very religious going to my gynecologist. I'm a very good patient. And as close as I've been to him for many years, he never asked me that question. Are you having any problems? Are you having itching? Are you having, any burning? Or never asked me. And I told this to Jacqui, I thought it was my problem, that if something was wrong with me, and I never brought it up to him. So along comes Jacqui Brandwynne, and she says, well, I have some product. I'd like to send you a sample. I said, great. And I get a lot of samples, sort of a lot of things. And I hesitate to use some of the samples. But this looked like it was FDA approved. It looked like Jacqui Brandwynne really knew what she was doing. So sure enough, I used it. It changed my life. And I've told that to Jacqui. I've told that to friends. I've told it to gynecologists. That when you use, there's two products that I especially enjoy. And that is the Intimate Cleanser, and then the Intimate, what do I just call it? The Intimate Moisture. And I would not, and my husband would not go on a trip. We do nothing if we're away, without carrying that with us. This has been the best thing. And as Jacqui said, before I knew Jacqui, I did try some other things that were very common, and it just wasn't that just wasn't doing it. It was not what I had hoped for. But after I used what Jacqui produces, it has been a godsend for many, many years. And Jacqui does not advertise with me. She has been a friend. She does write a column. So this is not a paid commercial. This is, I want to do this so that I know all our radio listeners, all our readers can find something that will help them. And women, the baby boomers are exploding, as we know. And many of them do not know about this. So I hope that Jacqui can spread the word. She's got to get this with a huge company. She's got to start doing national television commercials on this, Jacqui. It's just such a secret.
Yes, it is a secret because the reason is that, the cost of doing these commercials, the products are called the Very Private Intimate Moisture and the Very Private Body Wash. And they're really superb products because big companies wanted to buy it just and launch it under their name, but that wouldn't help us because we'll get a little royalty and then goodbye. We spent years and over $1 million in production.
They might change your formula, too, because they may go cheaper.
They may go cheaper. That's right. We have, every ingredient in our formula has a 10-year safety record, a 10-year safety record. So we know this is going to help women. It's going to actually protect the Intimate Moisture protects the delicate tissue inside the vaginal canal. So it's like a little pillow of moisture. So So when you have intimacy, it doesn't hurt you. It's comfortable. It's fun. It really makes intimacy a great deal more wonderful.
But I have to go.
The body wash.
Right.
Pardon me.
Right. No, I want you to talk about the body wash.
Is hypoallergenic. We have tested it over on 100 women that have skin sensitivity, and in 10 years we've never had a bad reaction or a letter telling us about that from anybody. The only letter we ever got is a woman who left the intimate moisture on the beach for 3 days, and she said, I know it's my fault, but could you send me another one? It's gotten a little too thick. That was the only one. And on the other side of the yes letters, of the positive letters, I had a lady, and she's 82 years old, and she wrote us a letter saying she has the best sex of her life. Her boyfriend is 72, she's 82, and she says we all cherish and praise very private, intimate moisture because it's made both our lives fantastic.
Well, I'm going to jump in here because I know that we keep talking about the sexual comfort, but I have to tell you that there are so many women who are not having any relationships, any intimate relationships, and they are a much greater population, I believe, and I want them to understand that this will make them so comfortable that they can go places, they can do things, they don't have to be in pain. So even though, yes, it's perfect for people who are having sexual relationships, we just came back from a cruise, Jacqui. It was a cruise of the, it's called the Malt Shop Cruise, and it was a lot of the rock and roll in the 50s and the 60s. But I have to tell you, there were a lot of older single women on this ship, and they sure weren't having any sex on this ship. There just weren't enough single men. But those women, I could tell you, almost every one of them would probably want to have this.
Well, this is true, and I was going to tell you about this because many, many women, just by walking or doing exercises, are sore because the tissue is very dry, and they have itching or other problems there, and this will really work and help them out immediately. We actually have a woman in Australia, and we ship her very private. She says she can't walk without it. It's that severe. The dryness is that severe. Now, the other thing we found is that women who do exercise, it is a very smart idea to use a little very private before they start the exercise because the tissue is being stretched and manipulated, so it's best to protect it. In terms of your general hygiene, daily hygiene, I wish to suggest that no matter what you use, please stay away from fragrance product in the vaginal area. It is very, very harmful. It changes the whole pH balance, the whole environment of the intimate area, and you're much more prone to get an infection or an irritation when you use things that destroy the vaginal environment, the natural vaginal environment, which fragrance does, which colored chemical does. For example, when you sit in a tub and you put in a blue bubble maker, well, what do you think this is? It's chemical fragrance and chemical colors, and it seeps into your intimate areas and changes what the normal healthy environment should be. So please think about that.
As you were talking,
should use something that's pH balanced to your vaginal environment, that has no chemical fragrances, no chemical coloring, and no additives that are not necessary. So
Suzanne, I just want to tell you that, Jacqui, I'm sorry, I was thinking of my friend Suzanne because she and I were talking about this. And I was trying to describe this to her, and it was interesting to talk, one woman talking to another. Women don't talk about this together. It's so strange. So I do. You know me because you and I've talked so many times. But I was talking to her about it, and she had this look on her face, and I thought she was going to fall out of the chair. And she said, oh, my gosh. She said, I've been suffering with this for so long. I said, well, let me take you. I gave her a couple of my samples, that I had, and I gave it to her, and I said, try it. You will not believe it. And getting back to what you said about using regular soap to wash your intimate areas. I could never do that now. Never. I can never use regular soap. I mean, the minute I do, I start getting burning feeling. So I just carry this around with me. I've even carried it in my purse because it's larger than the little intimate lotion. Moisture. It's funny. I have a problem with that. It's the moisture, right? But I don't swear by a lot of things. I guess I swear by my husband and some things. But this has been one of the highlights of my life, Jacqui. And I always worried, I hope she never goes out of business. I better get 1,000 of these. What am I going to do if she does? I really thought about that. What am I going to do if I don't have this? I mean that.
Well, we'll have to send you a huge supply.
I mean, really, I am an addict. I guess I don't drink, I don't smoke, but I'm an addict for this. That's the funniest thing to say because I don't know what I would do without it.
Well, Anita, what we hope to do is to associate with a larger company that has the money to advertise and get it on the air and get it into, because that costs millions and millions and millions of dollars, which we simply don't have. So we do the best we can, but hopefully we will find a partner in a company anywhere in this country, and that will help us in distribution and help us in making the brand known.
Now, I wanted to add something else that we haven't. You and I have discussed it personally, and I don't know if I've ever discussed it on the air, but I'm brazen. Bill loves this rubbed on him personally, without even having sex. It's a foreplay. He absolutely adores this, and we don't talk about that, Jacqui, but he loves it.
Well, what we did is that we did a test with 75 couples and gave them. Several of them were not very active sexually. Some of them actually stopped being sexually active, and some were quite active. And of the 72 couples, 72 said to us afterwards that they will never have sex without it again, and that several, the ones that were not active, have tried to become active again and have re-entered a normal sexual life. So it was a huge success. And why was it success? Because when people begin to be intimate, very often the beginning is awkward. This makes it easier, and it makes it playful, because women apply it on their partner, and their partner, everybody giggles together, everybody has fun together. So it takes that pressure off the couple. It breaks the pressure off the intimate experience. And they can just have foreplay, or they can just continue. It'll be a good, positive experience, not only sexually, but emotionally. And that's the key to it. When you can have fun with each other in a marriage or in a relationship, this solidifies the relationship. And sometimes you need a little help.
Sometimes you need a lot of help, but this is great. I wanted to go back on something else that we probably haven't discussed before. A lot of products have little caps that you turn and you open them up and you take them off. Yours don't. You have a very special little, how would you describe what? Because you had to order it. You had to design this. It makes it very nice.
What we have is, first of all, we have inside the cap, when you get the product, there is a seal on top of so it's protective, so nobody will get anything that anybody ever has touched before. That's number one. So we remove the seal, put the cap back on. It's a flip cap, so you can use in one hand, you flip it, and the liquid comes out, and so it's easy to use. And it doesn't wear out. The cap won't wear out. It's also a security cap so that when you travel, it doesn't open.
Exactly. Let me give everybody some information again. First of all, you'll want to go to the website, which is very easy. It's veryprivate.com. Just that's it, veryprivate.com. You'll see the products. You'll see how you can order them. They're not expensive. It will could save your marriage. It could save your own personal life in many ways, because you'll be able to live again. And especially for you who ride bicycles, oh my goodness, you really need to have this. And as Jacqui said, put it on before. But if you want to call and speak with someone, if there's some specific problems you're having you don't understand, may I give them your phone number?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We talk to women all the time.
Oh, good. It's area code 310-471-7701. That's 310-471-7701. Remember, Jacqui's company is in L.A., so depending where you live. Our listeners are on the East Coast. You have to give them about 4 hours to just be on the safe side. And please always read Boomer Times and look for Jacqui's column, because she always writes about something. And generally speaking, it's not just on these products. It's on relationships in later life, in younger life. But they're very interesting. She always picks on things that are, you just say, oh, is that right? Oh, I didn't know that happened. But she's quite a whiz of a woman. And she hasn't told you any of this, but she's very active in research for cancer. And she has been active with AIDS research. She's a person who is, as I said before, highly intellectual, but always trying to make life better. Did you get that?
For women especially.
For women especially. But men are the recipients,
Oh, absolutely. That we try to get the women healthy and confident and feeling good, so that they are great partners in the relationship.
You do a great job of that, Jacqui, and we thank you very much.
But I also want to tell you that Boomer Times is our most favorite forum.
Thank you.
We published a column elsewhere. Anita really discovered us. And I think the Boomer Time is so vital. I read it all the time.
Thank you. Thank you.
We display many articles to other women.
Well, we thank you, Jacqui, and we're going to have to say goodbye.
It is a fabulous, fabulous forum for women to learn, to better their lives.
Thank you.
And to have more fun in their lives.
Okay, and we'll talk with you again.
Anita is the creator of it and the constant inspiration and source of knowledge.
Thank you very much, Jacqui.